This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Father's Day weekend. It's not Father's Day, it's Father's Day weekend. You got to stretch that thing out, you know. One day a year is just not enough.
I was trying to convince my wife that Father's Day weekend started yesterday around 6 o'clock.
It does. As soon as you're done with work on Friday, get it going.
She wasn't buying it, though. I had a whole list of work to do when I got home.
Well, welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall Father's Day weekend experience
with your car.
So if you got car questions, we've got car answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, and you can also text us at 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we've got some Father's Day weekend gift ideas, if you still haven't got those rounded up. We've got open phones and texts. And 120, 121, it's all the same.
Right?
Does your car really care? You know, Matt, it's one of those things where I can walk through a parking lot, and I'll just walk past a car, and I'll just catch a whiff of it, and I know that car's got a leaky radiator.
Mm-hmm.
You see it all the time, and people don't really realize you got to pay attention to the smells that are going on in your garage or in your parking lot when you come up to your car. Coolant is very specific smell to it.
Well, and you were asking me earlier, I mean, what does, I mean, you know the answer to this, but what's my interpretation of what does coolant smell like? And we're going back for a little sweet smell, but sometimes maybe when it's rotten, it's a little bit different. But really, it's not important to really be able to identify what the smell is, I think. It's that something's different. It didn't smell like this yesterday, and that's maybe the first sign that there's a problem is really being in tune. It's, having peripheral vision, in relating to your car, peripheral sniffing maybe. I don't know.
Well, chances are you're not going to be going out today at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to, sit out in the sun and sunbathe. I'm pretty sure of that. Maybe you got some misters or something. But it's hot. You don't like it. Well, chances are your car doesn't like it either. I'm thinking it doesn't. But that's when I'm pretty sure Monday morning I'm going to go to work. And there's going to be a few cars that were towed in over the weekend from overheating. Yeah. With the heat like this isn't just like it's hot. This is extreme heat, and it's torturous. And there's a reason some of the auto manufacturers put test tracks here in Arizona to see.
Yeah, you see all the cars riding around sometimes with the funky-looking paint jobs, so you can't see the body lines, or they have, we used to call them the bras on the car, but they're covering the back or hiding the tail lights and stuff. So yeah, they do their testing here, but I tell you, the overheating is the one thing. I had a customer yesterday. She had a squeaky belt, and we weren't really sure over the telephone if she could get it in. Is it safe to drive or not? And, of course, we can't answer that without looking at the car, and we decided it wasn't. However, just pushing it a little bit, you can take a small problem. You can take a $50 or $60 problem and make that a $5,000 problem by just ignoring it. And the overheat is the one that really does that, can lead you down the road.
And
to
people
disaster.
Call me and say, I'm seeing some coolant leaking. Is it right if I drive down to check it out? The gauge is not hot. Well, I got to tell you, that gauge not being hot doesn't mean it's not hot. What happens when there's a coolant leak, and I don't know if people understand this, there's air in your system. That temperature sensor has to be in contact with water in order to tell you it's hot.
Right.
If it's in contact with air, because there's air in the system, and usually it's pretty high up in the system, so that's where the air is going to go, it's not going to tell you the car's actually hot. And so if people drive, they go, well, the gauge isn't hot. I'm like, whoa, pull over.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, and sometimes it's the mother or father, getting mad at the college-age kid or the high school kid, or vice versa, the wife and the husband, oh, you didn't see the gauge, and then we got to step in and go, no, not necessarily their fault. I mean, because you got the heat making the transfer of the water. You take a pot of water and put it boiling in the stove and stick your finger in it, you're going to burn your hand. Pour all that water out, put that same pot in the stove and stick your finger down in there.
Yeah.
As long as you don't touch the bottom, it's not hot. That's that temperature gauge. That's what Dave is saying. So it's.
I don't know how you come up with this stuff. That's pretty good.
I am full of analogies, Dave. I can
analogy master.
I can correlate something to something somehow, some way.
So what we're talking about here today is, because it is boiling hot out, and, not taking a small problem with your car and making it a bigger problem, paying attention to smells. The other thing, Matt, is you see it where somebody's pulled over on the side of the road and they got the hood open and they're staring at their car because something's overheating. And you said, safety-wise, what do we not want to be doing with that radiator?
Yeah, never, ever, 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 never, ever.
What should we do?
Never open a hot radiator. And even if you can get the lid open, so we're going to maybe squeeze the upper. Someone who's experienced is going to squeeze the upper radiator hose, maybe, and make sure there's no pressure. That's an indication that thing's just not going to just vomit coolant out all over you and burn you. But even if you successfully get that lid off of there without pressure, and then you start filling it with nice cold water, it's going to go down the radiator, it's going to come back with hot metal, and then it's going to vomit all over you again, this time while you're leaning over it, pouring the water in. So you've got to be super, super, super careful. You just can't stress it enough. And chances are, if you've got it that hot, we had a lady pull in the shop the other day. It comes in off 7th Street. My car's overheating. I just need to get some water in it. It's leaking out. It's probably not going to help. It could very well be dangerous. And all that's going to do is, if you haven't blown the car up yet, it's going to give you another opportunity to give another shot at blowing the car up again.
Pull it over, get an Uber, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is people continue to drive the cars. So pay attention to the smells. If little red lights come on, don't keep driving. The gauge isn't always going to tell the story. But if the car starts running weird, the one thing I notice when cars start overheating, Matt, doesn't it seem like the air conditioner starts blowing warm all of a sudden?
Well, the AC will start to blow warm. Maybe it just gets a little humid in the car because maybe we have a fan that went out. So that fan, it helps cool the radiator for the engine, but that's also the condenser fan motor. So, yeah, maybe the car's pinging a little bit. You hear this rattling going up the hill. That a lot of times because of a hot engine. So you've got to be careful there. There's just a number of different telltale signs. And let's even get away from coolant. Let's talk about oil leaks. Sometimes we can have a catastrophic leak, something blows, or the car's just low on oil. But usually that's leaking onto a manifold somewhere, and you're going to smell that. And again, it's not we're looking for abnormalities. I can't even. Is that even
abnormalities?
Yeah, you got it.
Or anomalies.
Anomalies, yeah. And so it's just something that's different. It's just not the same as it was before, and that's really where the key is. You don't have to know what it is. You just have to know it's not right. You walk into a restaurant, it smells like rotten fish. Going to the sushi joint, you're turning around, right? You just know it's not right. So the same thing with
Can I get that ahi really rare?
Yeah.
No, you don't want it rare. Cook that thing through and through for sure. So smells, puddles, and that's the other thing is when you back out of your driveway or when you back out of a parking spot, look. Yeah, because if you see some fluid there, just be aware of it. Be aware there's something maybe going on, and a lot of people don't look. And the other thing is get in the habit of checking the gauges. I don't know how many people drive and never look down at their gauge region. And that's the way they get a speeding ticket. Like, how fast are you going? I got no idea.
Wasn't even looking. It just felt right.
But just get in the habit of looking and checking those gauges and glancing down on a regular basis. Know and be familiar with where everything's at. And then that bulb check to know where those lights are and what they're going to look like. And what I mean by a bulb check is when you get in your car, when you first turn the key forward without hitting the starter, you're going to see all the lights light up. And then you can see what is actually there. And be familiar with the lights and what they mean. Yellow tends to mean caution, like you can make a phone call to get to the shop. Red means just pull the heck over. So you see a red brake light, that could be you're low on brake fluid. We don't want to go driving around low on brake fluid, so that's pretty serious. And then the out of oil lights are red.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Stop.
So, and then the other lights that we have are, the overheat lights. So anyhow, if you've got any concerns about your cooling system or any concerns about your car at all, if something's wrong, nothing like 120 degrees to make it break the rest of the way. Give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Matt and Dave on this Father's Day weekend at Bumper to Bumper Radio. We'll be right back.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari with me. Early in the morning we'll be starting.
You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Hey, Matt, have you ever gone surfing at Big Surf? Have you actually surfed
that was
there?
like the rite of passage, I think. Was it 7th grade or you know, when I went to Shea Middle School, so you went to Big Surf. That was one of the field
Senior
trips.
Ditch Day.
Oh, you did Senior Ditch Day then.
Huh? We graduated to the river by that point. But yeah, Big Surf was that was cool, man. That was the place.
Quite the deal. Now, I think the water is actually hotter now than body temperature, right? So you get in, it feels like you're in the spa, even though it's not.
Combination of sun and urine. It's It's nice and warm.
No one ever pees in the pool.
Oh, come on, I do.
No. Anyhow, stick around later on the show. We're going to help you with some Father's Day weekend gift ideas. As much as we can stretch this weekend out, I'm getting everything it's worth.
Right? Yeah. And what did you say earlier? It's okay to do what? No.
Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, let's get to the phones. We've got Darren in Goodyear. He's got a 2009 Mitsubishi Eclipse GS. How can we help you, Darren? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
I had the check engine light come on, so I went in and got the code, and the code said it was running lean. So it said, okay, I know it could be 1,000 things, but I checked the mass airflow sensor, and I changed it. And that's what it called for, those codes. Now it's still the engine light. We cleared the codes, and the engine light still came back on. I have one of those engine intake features on it, so I don't know if that's what's making it run lean or what's going on.
No, so you said you did replace the mass airflow sensor?
Correct, sir.
No, is it probably a PO171 code?
Exactly. Yeah. And then now I just got it tested just an hour ago, and now it just says it's running lean in bank 1. Before it was both. It was 2 codes. Now it's just 1 after I changed it.
Okay. Let it run longer. It'll get to both of them again.
Yeah, right? Well, so, I mean, the code means is lean condition. So a lean condition, I accidentally hung up on him.
Lean condition can be car's running too hot.
Well,
it could be a vacuum leak.
But a lean condition is not enough fuel or too much air.
Correct.
One of the two. Or we have a sensor that is lying to us. Because, I mean, there's the oxygen sensor down in the exhaust stream, and that's a sensor, again, it's going to tell what's happening in the exhaust stream, and that's an indication of how the fuel is burning, what's happening, what's passing through the engine. So that sensor first has to be accurate. The messenger has to be telling us the truth. So we have to test the oxygen sensor and know, is it working, and what it's telling us is that really what's coming out the tailpipe, for one. And then after that, if we're delivering the right amount of fuel, then we have to know, does the car have the ability? Is this sensor telling the computer, hey, I need more fuel? Now is the computer telling the fuel injection system, give me more fuel? And then does it have the ability to do that? So what might make it not have the ability? Fuel pump pressure be low, fuel pump plugged, or fuel filter plugged up. Where you were, Dave, vacuum leak. We're sucking in what's called false air or unmetered air. Is any air that's not going past that mass airflow sensor that probably didn't need to be replaced. Those are going to cause a lean condition.
But I think everyone listening can benefit from this because we think we just plug in and it gives us a code. Hey, it's lean, and therefore that's going to take me over here to the mass airflow sensor. That's where you're going to get into spending a lot of money on parts, okay? Because for those of you that do work on your car, one of the things that we have at the shop is we're looking at the scanner data. So we're going to be looking at the fuel trims and see what those fuel trims, short-term, long-term fuel trims, and that's going to help steer us in the right direction. That code is just a code. It's a limited amount of information. It may point us in a direction. So, hey, we got to look at the fueling system. We may know that. We got to go look at that sensor. We may know that. But a lot of O2 sensor codes are, there's O2 heater sensor. Lean code,
Right.
But sometimes people see they got O2 sensor codes and they go replace the O2 sensors.
Meaning O2, so everybody knows, is oxygen. So yes. And it just has to go through a series of tests. So I think the thing for him to do is, again, go back. The code was cleared, so it's a real code again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fault set code. And you have to follow, there's a trouble chart. And it's going to ask you some questions. You have to go through and do some tests. But I'd be looking hard at the vacuum leaks for sure. You could possibly have a bad oxygen sensor. I mean, you already got the mass airflow sensor, dirty fuel injectors, but probably not. So.
Yeah, that car wasn't that old. So anyhow, thanks so much for the call. We're going to go with Glenn in Glendale. He must own the place, on an 04 Isuzu Rodeo. How can we help you, Glenn? You're on bumper-to-bumper radio.
Yeah, if I own the place, I'd definitely keep the coyotes here, I'll tell you that.
Right?
But, I just got a problem with my 04 Isuzu Rodeo. I have a really smart gremlin in it, and it doesn't like to pop his head out until the summertime, of course.
Right.
The ignition, when you turn the key over, nothing happens. You don't hear the fuel or the fuel pump go. You don't hear the starter or anything. And you do that 3 times or 2 times, it'll start up. And when it does start up, there's a little light on the dash, and it'll say power reduced, and the gas pedal does not work. So you turn it off, turn it back on, it starts back up, and then it has a check engine light. But everything is running fine. Now the gremlin on the thing is what's making me mad. Is every time I try and take it to a shop, the engine light goes away, and everything is running perfect. And it will stay fine for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll do it again.
Well, that code, when that sets a code, or when the check engine light goes on, it sets a code. When it goes off, it does not necessarily erase that code.
Correct.
And then what it will also do, depending on the technology in the 2004, it will tell us when that code sets, it's going to tell us the engine temperature, the throttle position, the load on the engine. There's all kinds of different data that we can look at to see what's happening there. I was just trying to look online. I couldn't push the buttons fast enough. I don't know if that's a fly-by-wire type of deal, but if it says reduce power, it's going into limp mode, and there's definitely a code being set there. It could be that it has a slight misfire, and they don't want you to destroy the catalytic converter, so that's why it'll go into reduced power so you can get in before you ruin something. The other thing is if it is a no throttle cable, fly-by-wire, so to speak, where the computer's looking for an input from your foot to then go run an actuator at the throttle, they have redundant switches in there. And if they're not seeing those working together, then it's like, hey, we're losing connection here. We can't let this guy drive. This thing just might, be stuck on wide open throttle or whatever the case. It's the self-protection built into the computer system. So the shops ought to be able to find something. And maybe the thing to do is get it to them sooner, because that code could clear after a certain number key cycles or self-tests that get performed by.
Well, the other thing
you
you mentioned, it shows up in the heat when it gets really hot. When we see computers and switches and sensors start have issues, it's when the heat shows up.
Right.
And so I was in that ignition switch. I was thinking ignition switch. That was what came to mind. He says, he's turning the key and nothing's happening. So I don't know if something's messing up there, and we're not getting power to all the different modules, and it's going into a communication code.
True. Yep.
And stuff's not talking, and the motor's not going to work. So we may be losing a power source to one of those modules, and stuff in the vehicle's not talking really well. But the one thing I know about Isuzu's, Matt, it's a frustrating brand for us to work on because it seems like scanner information is hard to come by in stupid Isuzu.
Sometimes when I was looking, I don't know if that's the one who is the direct descendant of a Honda. It's I'm just not sure, but intermittent issues. I mean, in the shop sometimes in the winter time or just various times of year, we want to stress these things and make them fail. We'll take a computer and just start cooking it with a heat gun,
blow dryer,
or a relay, trying to get them to break down or have with all kinds of solid state components. You find solder connections that are bad, just weird things rear their head. So
anyhow, when we come back, we're taking more phone calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. We're gonna help you out with any last-minute Father's Day gift ideas. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Westline Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
KTAR News, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and on every device with the KTAR app. Arizona's breaking news and traffic, now.
KTAR News Time, 11:30. I'm Mike Sackley. Arizona votes. The Arizona State Fairgrounds starting to fill up for Donald Trump's appearance here in a few hours. KTAR's Sharon Middleman is live at the fairgrounds with the latest. Sharon?
Well, Mike, the doors don't open until noon, but folks have already been lining up for hours outside the fairgrounds. I spoke to the woman who was first in line, and talk about early. She says she got here at 2 a.m. Diana Bress says she likes to be, and she has been first at a lot of big events like the Beatles, John F. Kennedy, Clinton, and Obama. But she says in addition to that, she really likes Donald Trump.
I've followed him from New York, lived in New York, saw what he did for people, saw what he does for veterans, and he's just an amazing man.
Well, there is plenty of security here. Police from several agencies, along with the TSA and the Secret Service, and large crowds are expected for the event, which begins at 4 p.m. Live at the Arizona State Fairgrounds, Sharon Middleman, KTAR News.
Thank you so much, Sharon. There's also an anti-Trump protest going on right now nearby over at Encanto Park, 15th Avenue and Encanto. Well, if you're thinking about adopting a dog, you can test the waters by taking one home for the weekend. Michael Moorfield from AZ Animal Welfare League says becoming a volunteer doesn't take long, and you can take a dog home every weekend if you'd like.
You know, you get that little dog fix. Like if you don't have a dog at home, you kind of get a couple days to just have fun, get used to it, and oh my God, it's so huge for the dogs.
They'll provide food, a kennel, and everything you need to bring a furry friend home, even if it's just for a weekend. Now for traffic in the RMEGold.com Traffic Center. Here's John Michaels.
And we have an accident still active, Loop 101 southbound at the 60 Superstition Freeway. It's going to be off on the shoulder, not blocking, but expect some precautionary slowing. And a crash reported 19th Avenue north of McDowell at Grand near the fairgrounds. Also a crash on Dysart north of Van Buren. Police and fire are on the scene. That's traffic. I'm John Michaels, KTAR News.
Sunny and a high of 109 for your Saturday. Right now in Ahwatukee, 102 degrees. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Matt and Dave, KTAR's Car Guys on Bumper to Bumper. Back with you next. I'm Mike Sackley, KTAR News.
Arizona, an amazing state for outdoor recreation and exploration. Full of mountains, lakes, streams, forests, and of course, our beautiful deserts. Hunting, fishing, camping. If it's about the outdoors, we've got it covered. KTAR invites you to Get Outdoors with Mike Russell today at noon. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and on every device with the KTAR app.
Hi, I'm Roger Bland with the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, ATRA. As a transmission industry advocate, I travel throughout North America, studying transmission shops, looking for the best of the best that our industry has to offer. Professionally, ethically run shops that are proud to display the ATRA logo. I was recently in Arizona because I had heard from more than one source that I had to check out Tri-City Transmission right here in Tempe. Folks, I've been in the transmission industry for over 25 years, and I'm here to tell you that Tri-City is the type of transmission shop we're proud to call an ATRA member. Not only does Tri-City Transmission meet the stringent code of ethics set forth for every member of the association, they also have an extraordinary approach to solving their customers' problems. You see, they don't just focus on what it is they produce, transmissions. Their true concern is about fixing your problem. And take it from me, that's a big difference.
To learn more about Tri-City Transmission, find them at tricitytransmission.com. That's tricitytransmission.com.
3 stunning resorts, 6 award-winning golf courses, the JW Marriott Luxury Golf Group right here in Arizona. In Scottsdale, the legendary JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa with 36 holes of renowned golf at the Hudson Fry Ambiente and Arthur Hills Padre courses. In Tucson, the JW Marriott Star Pass Resort and Spa with 27 holes of Arnold Palmer signature golf. And in Phoenix, the JW Marriott Desert Ridge Resort and Spa hosts the Faldo and Palmer courses at the spectacular Wildfire Golf Club. World-class resorts and golf, all in our own backyard.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
All righty. I don't think it's 130 yet, but we're supposed to get there, right?
120, 130. It's all the same, right?
Right, exactly. You know, we had to push a car in yesterday. Talking about it being hot. I mean, the shop's not too bad, but then you go out and push. Start sizzling your hands on the back deck lid of this Honda, you know. It's like, holy smokes.
You don't push cars,
I
man.
did. I'm working, Dave, and I am out there working now. I'm putting in my time.
The thing about Matt, he's got no hair, so you see, you know when he's sweating because his forehead is just covered with sweat. See how my hair absorbs it? You almost don't see me sweat because I have so much hair on my body.
Your shirt's just wet, and, you know. Oh, boy. So, Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are here every Saturday helping you. And, we want to just give you tips, anything we can do to help you with your car, get through the day, not make a mistake. Maybe you got a question about selling a car, buying a car, fixing the car. Whatever it is, if you'd like to talk to us, we would love to talk to you. 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And as long as you're not driving, you can shoot us a text at 411-923.
Well, let's get to Andy in Gilbert on an 08 Chevrolet Colorado. How can we help you, Andy? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, hi, guys. Thank you. My grandmother-in-law owns this car, and about 8 months ago, she moved from Florida to here. We used it to tow a U-Haul trailer. Halfway through the ride, the check engine light came on, found out it was a thermostat. It was stuck open. We got it back to Arizona. I replaced it with a genuine Chevy part from the dealership just down the road. Now, with the summer heat coming on, the thermostat is registering very hot, at least on the dash. It has 5 lines that go from cold to hot. When it was operating normally in just, January, February, March area, the line would be the needle would be right in the middle. Now that it's started reaching our temperatures that we have here, the line is actually, the needle shown, so it's halfway between what I would say normal operating temperature and the hot logo. Is this normal? Does it sound about right? Is that kind of how these trucks work, or could there be a different issue with possible circulation? I've checked the fluids. The fluids are completely full at where they should for whether it's hot or cold.
All the above. Really?
Well, Matt, I think we started with, the thermostat wasn't closing. So it was open all the time, and there's a code for, engine staying cool too long or not heating up quick enough.
Not reaching operating temperature.
So the thermostat is designed to be shut and prevent the flow of coolant while the engine comes up to operating temperature. In this case, it's going to be about 210 degrees. That's kind of the happy place. And I've seen that change over the years. It used to be a lot cooler, and as years have gone on, we found out they run a lot more efficient at hotter temperatures. Mm-hmm. So 210 is where a lot of stuff reads. And so the thermostat wasn't closing like it should. So we changed the thermostat out. I'm wondering, Matt, and I see this a lot of times when people go change thermostats, is they end up with air in the system. And sometimes that was kind of what was coming to mind for me, because I know when we fill cooling systems in our shop, we vacuum fill them, right. And it just helps us get the system full of coolant without those air pockets that can really reduce the efficiency of the cooling system.
I might go there, but you changed the thermostat out a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I don't think the Colorado is one of the ones that's prone to getting air pockets, or if there's even a bleed procedure on that one. But that's a good thought. And maybe it's just normal, but you could have, what do you call it, cumulative wear. I mean, you have some stuff on the margin. So maybe what you need to do, we see cars in the shop, people have their dog or their cat in the garage. And we take off the radiator core support, or the cover that covers between the radiator and the condenser, and we see that's packed with leaves and dog hair and cat hair. So when it's hot like this, it's going to run a little bit hotter than normal, but then you add, let's just take away 5% cooling capability, 5%. Maybe we sucked up a bag, off the freeway, and there's a bag covering at the corner of the radiator. If you ever watch racing, you watch NASCAR or IndyCar, any of that, they get a small piece of debris on the grill, and you see these cars that got to come in and pit because it's really restricting the airflow. So you could have something like that. It could be completely normal. You could have the inside of the radiator. It's a 2008, so it's not. There'd
be some blockage in there, and it's not working as efficiently as it could be working.
So maybe a flush, and again, maybe nothing. So it's definitely worth having it evaluated.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on gauges, generally they run, the happy place is the middle of the gauge.
Typically, yeah.
Typically. So, a lot of cars, you will see them creep up just a touch over that happy place, when it gets to be 120 degrees out. Hey, the other thing we didn't talk about is sitting in park with your car idling.
I do it all the time.
You shouldn't. You're just wasting fuel.
No, that's all right.
He wants to get into a cool car.
I'll buy some more.
If my forehead sweat like yours, I'd want a cool car, too.
It does, and I got a big forehead.
But, you sit and idle for a long time, you can overheat an engine real quick. You see these photo radars, when they be running the air conditioning, you see the hood cracked. Mm-hmm. propped open a little bit.
Right. Mr. Literal here, I'll say something, right? Well, no, it's true, but I think we had a text about that. Is it okay to let my car sit and idle? And I do it a lot, but I can tell you what, after it's been idling for a while, I'll jump in the car, and I'm like, wow, this thing's low on power. Now I'm driving a 2010 Tundra. So I've got almost 90,000 miles on it, so the car has got some age, it's got some wear. But I get in it, and I'm like, wow, this AC's not as cold as it was a little bit ago. And you get that airflow moving. It feels low on power because the fan clutch is locked up, and that fan is robbing the power of the engine. You know, even a 2010 car with not that many miles really can start to feel the effects of just a little bit here and a little bit there.
We've got Rodney, Jeff, Ryan, and Steve. I wanted to address one of these texts here, Matt. Are the dash lights replaceable on a 2004 Chevy Silverado? I don't know if he's mentioned the indicator lights or kind of the backlight. All those are generally serviceable. They can be changed. Generally, the cluster has to come out in order for them to be worked on, but it can definitely be done.
Hey, our one technician friend sent in a text too. Always listens to the show, George the B-Tech, I think it is. But he's talking about letting the car idle and running the air conditioning fans. The other thing that's happening is we are really putting the limit, or really taxing, if you will, the electrical system on these cars. You've got the AC running full blast. That means you very well could have two fans underneath the hood drawing full amperage. I mean, they are sucking down that battery voltage like crazy. You've got the blower motor inside the car running. You've got the electronic magnetic clutch, for the air conditioning engaged. And this car is drawing a lot of amperage, so you can put a hurting on a battery in a hurry too.
For sure. Well, let's go with Jeff in Tempe on a 2012 GMC Acadia. How can we help you, Jeff? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, hi. So we got that Acadia. We're getting ready to go on a long road trip for 2 weeks, family vacation, get out of the heat. We're going up to California. And so this Acadia we have, we've had issues with it where you're driving and it surges. So you'll see the RPMs go up, a couple hundred RPMs, but it's like you're just constant and it'll like surge. And it's accelerating on its own, then it slows down, accelerates on its own, slows down, but it only occurs when it's hot out. And I'm just curious if you ever heard anything with that vehicle.
What speeds?
It's pretty much any speed. Like you can be on the, actually no, we mostly notice it on the, on the city streets, stop and go traffic.
Okay, so
you can be going like 40 miles an hour and like it'll surge a little bit and slow back down, surge a little.
It makes me wonder, well, I was going to start to say is that the air conditioning engaging and disengaging, you're loading and unloading the motor, but it's hot enough now, the air conditioning is not disengaging more likely. That thing is on full,
running all day long.
Full bore, so I'm not.
A little bit I was thinking, and not at the slower speeds, 10, 20 miles an hour, but I know if you're starting to have an issue with a torque converter, you'll get that 200 RPM swing. Is not an uncommon symptom for me to hear at a transmission shop. People say, oh, yeah, my RPM swing by a couple hundred RPM. So that's another possibility for surging. But if you that can also happen, not because necessarily there's a problem with the torque converter, but it could be a bad sensor or something that's, TPS or something like that starting to have an issue. So that one is really hard to really try and all we can do is take some wild guesses.
Any check engine lights or any warning lights or anything like that?
No, we've taken it to the dealership. We've done all the required services. The 30 mile, 1,000, 60,000, all that stuff. All the fluids changed, and they did some service to it before to try to fix that issue. They said there was like a stuck sensor, but we brought it back in. We had them do a trip inspection on it. Before we went, and they said that everything was good, and my wife told me yeah, it's doing that surging again, and he's like, yeah, it shouldn't be doing that, but at that point they couldn't reproduce it. This was a couple weeks ago. Yeah. No, it was last week, so it was cooler.
Well, I think on a problem like that, you want to get in the car and drive it with a technician and be able to show them what you're experiencing. If you can't do that, they'll go in and they'll say, yeah, everything looks good. If there's no codes and there's no obvious deficiencies, nothing hanging off the car, that type of thing, they're not necessarily going to find anything, but you do want to take care of it before you head out to, try and drive to California. And I don't know why you'd want to get out of heat, first of all. Why not stick around?
The other thing that's difficult, too, Dave, is sometimes I think we're reluctant to try to fix that car because at some point we want to guarantee some success, right? We want to get involved with things that we can be successful doing. And if we go in and start trying to diagnose these problems, that we're spending our time, and we have to charge for our time. And gosh, I hate it when I go in there and I spend an hour and a half, and I still don't have any answers, and I still have to charge somebody. So it's difficult. That's why if we can really replicate the problem, if you can get it to happen and then call that shop, probably a little bit more to do or difficult to do at the dealer. But I know we have customers that have intermittent problems. Hey, if you're out driving it and it's doing it, call us and let us know on your way. Somebody will be standing outside just to get in that car as fast as we can with you. And half the battle sometimes is just actually feeling the problem and being able to duplicate it.
And I tell people, when you come and if it's acting up, drive the shop, leave the car running.
Don't shut it off.
Don't shut it off because it's doing whatever it's doing. We don't want to mess with that.
Right.
I had that conversation with somebody yesterday. So, Matt, when we come back, we got to get to Ryan and Steve. They've been waiting forever. Then we got Rodney and Jeff. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR Car Guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at accurateautomotiveaz.com today.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A-plus rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
I'm going to go Cadillac shopping for Father's Day weekend.
Cadillac, huh?
Yeah, Cadillac song. Got to go Cadillac shopping. Maybe that's a good Father's Day weekend gift.
The only Cadillac I would want is like a CTSV. I mean, it's got to let the smoke roll off the tires if I'm going to drive it.
Runs like a scolded dog.
Dave, come on now.
We got to get to Ryan in Mesa, who's been holding forever, and then Steve, and then Rodney, and then we hope you have a great Father's Day weekend. How can we help you, Ryan? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of Cadillac, my wife just bought me one 2 months ago, an ATS. So anyway, super nice car.
Was it a Father's Day gift, or that was just a gift?
It was just a gift.
Very nice.
But it's nice. Yeah, the 2-door is great. But my question is more towards service advisors at dealers. On my Jetta, it was due for a 40,000-mile checkup, the service. So I bought it in South Scottsdale, but I live in North Scottsdale now. Took it there for the 40,000. I said, take care of it. He's like, all right. I go to pick it up, and he's like, yeah, it'll be $800. And I'm like, all right. So just for giggles, I called the shop where I bought it from, and I said, how much would it cost for the 40,000 miles? And he goes, it's $450. So when I got to pick up my car, I told my service advisor that, and he goes, "That's impossible. They must be missing something. They're not doing anything." So I said, "Well, let's call them." So I put him on speaker, called up the other dealer, and they went through the same exact thing, and it was half the price. It was over $400 cheaper at one dealer. So I was just curious of how they can do that or what I can do now. They dropped the price right away, like after an hour. They said, "Okay, well, we'll match that. We're sorry." But I still never got an answer. I said, "Did you guys just mess up on the paperwork? Did you do extra work that you didn't notify me you were going to do?" Because if it was $100 more, $200 more, $300 more, I get it. But this was like $450 more.
You know, I mean, we could talk about this all day.
We got some really tall boxes here.
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, I was starting to formulate my answer or what I thought might happen until he said it was really an apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, I called the other dealer and put him on speaker, and with the other service advisor. So I just want to know, like, pretty much. I think they must work on commission, and then B, should I go to the BBB? Because my wife's like, no, they actually rectified the problem. But I go, the owner of it's a huge facility, should know that his service dealers, they're doubling the cost.
Yeah, and you know what? Quite honestly, you might not be telling him something he doesn't already know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
I've heard all kinds of stories. I mean, I've heard service advisors at the dealerships. And I don't care if someone says they're paid on commission or they're not paid on commission. The bottom line is whether you're on salary or commission, you're on commission because there's certain performance standards that need to be met. So to boil it all down, bottom line is everybody's on commission. So don't let that influence you too much one way or the other, whether good or bad. But I know a lot of people who are interviewing service advisors, and they're talking to these people at the dealer. And I've heard stories, and I'm not just talking about Volkswagen. I'm talking about Chevy dealers that are in different parts of the valley. You have to sell 80% of the cars that come in. You better sell fuel injection system cleaning.
Right.
And that has to be sold. In some cases, they charge whatever they can get away with.
That's true. And there's no and the thing is apples to apples. I have a problem with, hey, it's worth $400 to that guy, but this guy over here is worth $600. I don't like to do business with business where I feel like I got to watch my wallet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna because I don't know anything about what you guys are doing here. I have to trust that you're going to do right by me. And so there's a certain level of that, and someone charging one guy $600 and somebody else $400 for the same thing. I just think there's no. The pricing, and now the BBB is not going to get in a pricing type of thing. You agree to the price, and this is the price they charge. That's not necessarily it, but they're by all means. There's nothing saying they can't.
Right.
There's a lot of subjectivity in auto repair.
And then there is the subject. I mean, you just said subjectivity. I have a very good friend from soccer, and they have a Subaru, and they wanted a price on a service, and I gave it to him before he came in. He says, "God, Matt, that's $120 more than the Subaru dealer wants." I said, "Okay." So I said, "What do they do?" And then I kind of mystery shopped. I called the Subaru dealer like I was the consumer, and I called more than one. And they really do different things. Like, so for example, on ours, they rotated the tires. Well, we rotated and balanced the tires. Slight difference, but it does cost more money.
$40.
They changed all the differential fluids in transfer case oil. Well, we use synthetic. They use conventional. So now you have, so now you're another little step. We got a little bit better quality steak, than we have at Sizzler. We got the good
prime
steak.
versus choice.
Yeah. So that can happen. And when we looked at all of it, yeah, we were more expensive, but you were getting more for your money.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll tell you is, quite honestly, at some of the dealerships, we talked about the fuel injection system cleaning. Some of these other chemicals, I see some of these. I can buy the same stuff. It's garbage. I mean, they sell it for the same price that we sell ours for, but our wholesale cost on it is 3 times more than what, so they have this huge profit margin. And some of this, so it's just, I mean, you just have to find a home, and maybe now, I mean, your car's not in warranty anymore. There's lots of other places that can service your Volkswagen, and so that's how I would vote. Like you said, should I go to the BBB? Should I write the owner of the dealership a letter? You could do all that. You can also vote with your wallet.
Yeah, you vote with your wallet or with your feet. Maybe just don't go back, and maybe the owner's got to take notice. People aren't coming back to my place. So anyhow, Father's Day gift ideas. I don't want to let that down because this is super important to me. I'm passionate about you taking care of your fathers. So Father's Day gift ideas. You know, it's an auto show, so I think it's some of the things you could buy Father's Day. Mechanics gloves, very cool little gift. Floor jacks, jack stands. We want to be safe working on cars in the driveway.
If you buy a jack, make sure you buy him jack stands.
Got to buy him jack stands.
Unless you don't like them.
And wheel chocks.
Is there a brand of tools that you guys prefer?
Well, Snap-on, but that's expensive. I mean,
we can be tool snobs a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I saw all kinds of stuff at Home Depot. They had so many Father's Day gift ideas. I like the things you can get them at the Interstate Battery Store. I've seen them at Costco, and I always talk about them. The little lithium charging cell. I can't believe you can start your car with this thing if it's dead, but it can power up your phone. It's a flashlight.
And I think those things are somewhere between $80 and $120, something like that.
Yeah, they're $100.
Charge cell phones, jump start your car, and the thing is no bigger than a little bit bigger than the size of your cell phone.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had Kevin from I-17 Collision in, and we were talking about car wash kits for Dad. Put together, go buy a bucket. They've got a nice bucket where there's a grate in the bottom so that you're not picking up the sand off the wash mitt. And speaking of which, get him a nice wash mitt and some car wash soap, not dishwashing soap.
Palmolive is not good.
Not good for the car. Maybe some Tire Shine or Armor All. We can put together all kinds of neat packages.
Well, Rodney, we're going to have to take your call off the air, and we had another one drop out. Sorry about the wait. We just had to get to those Father's Day gift ideas.
Yeah, and guys, we will take you off the air. So if you're still hung on hold, most of the time Dave and I will get you.
Thanks. Enjoy your Father's Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.